It is late. The house is quiet. The only sound is the hum of the refrigerator, or maybe the tick-tock of a clock on the wall. You are safe inside. You are warm. You have locked the doors. You have closed the windows. But sometimes, safety is just a feeling. It is not real. Sometimes the thing you should be scared of is not in the house with you. It is just outside. It is on the other side of the glass. It is on the other side of the wall. It is waiting. It is listening. And you are listening too. You just don't know it yet. This is a story about the sounds we choose to ignore. The creak on the porch we think is the wind. The shadow we see from the corner of our eye. We tell ourselves it is nothing. It is always nothing. Until it isn't. These stories are true. They happen to people just like you. People who were sitting in their homes feeling safe. People who were driving down a dark road thinking they were alone. They were wrong. And by the time they realized they were wrong, it was far too late. A girl named Sarah lived with her family in a house in the country. It was an old farmhouse. It was surrounded on all sides by huge fields of corn. In the summer, the corn grew tall, much taller than a person. When the wind blew, the stalks would whisper and rustle, like secrets just outside the window. Sarah loved her home. It was peaceful. It was quiet. The nearest neighbor was more than a mile down the dusty road. She felt safe there. She'd lived there her whole life. One night in late August, Sarah was in her bedroom reading a book. The window was open just a crack to let in the cool night air. The moon was full and bright, lighting the corn like a silver ocean. Sarah could hear crickets and the familiar rustle of corn. Then she heard another sound, a different rustle, a rhythmic sound, the sound of something moving through the corn. Slowly, deliberately, step, step, step. It was not the wind. Sarah put her book down and crept to the window. At first, nothing but endless swaying rows of corn, moonlight, and deep shadows. She watched. The sound stopped. She told herself it was an animal, a deer maybe, or a raccoon. They came out at night to eat the corn. She was about to turn away, about to go back to her book. Then she saw him, standing very, very still, deep in the corn, but not so deep she couldn't see him. A tall, thin man, just standing there staring at her house, perfectly motionless, like a misplaced scarecrow. But he was no scarecrow. Sarah's heart began to pound. Who was he? What was he doing out there? Too far to see his face, just a dark shape against the moonlit corn. A shape not supposed to be there, a shape watching her home. Silence under breathy drone. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. She ducked down below the windowsill. Her heart pounded against her ribs. She stayed there for a minute, then two. She was afraid to look again, but she knew she had to. Slowly she raised her head and peeked over the edge. The man was still there. He had not moved an inch. He was like a statue, a terrifying silent statue in the middle of their cornfield. He was just watching, waiting. But for what? Sarah felt a cold dread wash over her. She was alone upstairs. Her parents were downstairs watching television. They couldn't see the field from there. She ran from her room. She flew down the stairs, feet barely touching the steps. "Dad, Dad!" she yelled. Her father looked up from his show, annoyed. Her mother looked over, concerned. Sarah was pale. She was shaking. "There's a man," she said, pointing toward the back of the house. "He's in the cornfield. He's just standing there." Her father sighed. He thought she was imagining things. He thought her books were filling her head with scary ideas. "I don't see anything, honey," he said. "It's probably just a shadow. The moon is playing tricks on your eyes." But Sarah insisted. No, he was there, a tall man. She was so certain, so terrified, that her father finally relented. "Okay," he said slowly. "I'll call Mr. Gable. He's the one who owns this field." It seemed like a normal, reasonable explanation. Her father picked up the phone. He dialed Mr. Gable's number. The phone rang once, twice. Then Mr. Gable answered. Sarah's father explained the situation. He asked if Mr. Gable or a worker was out there. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Sarah watched her father's face. His expression changed. His calm demeanor vanished. It was replaced by the same fear she felt. His face went white. Her father hung up the phone. He did not say anything for a moment. He just stared at the wall. "What is it, John?" Sarah's mother asked. "What did he say?" Her father turned to look at them. His voice was low and shaky. "That was Mr. Gable," he said. "He said he hasn't been out to the field all week, and none of his workers have either." Then he said the words that made Sarah's blood turn to ice. "But he told me something else. He said that for the past month, other farmers in the area have been calling the police. They've been reporting things stolen from their fields. Stolen? Her mother asked. Like corn? Her father shook his head slowly. No, he said, not corn. He took a deep breath. They've been reporting that their scarecrows are being stolen, right out of the middle of their fields. A terrible silence filled the room. The only sound was the chirping of the crickets outside and the rustling of the corn. Sarah thought of the tall, thin man, the man standing perfectly still, the man who looked like a scarecrow, the one who was not a scarecrow at all. Suddenly, a new sound came from outside. It was a scraping sound. It was coming from the side of the house, right below Sarah's bedroom window. It was the sound of something being dragged against the wooden siding of the house. Scrape! Scrape! Sarah's father grabbed a heavy flashlight from a drawer. He told Sarah and her mother to stay in the kitchen and lock the door behind him. He went to the front door and slowly, quietly, unlocked it. He slipped outside into the darkness, leaving them alone in the silent house. They waited. Every second felt like an hour. They could not hear anything now but the pounding of their own hearts. After what felt like forever, the front door opened again. Sarah's father stepped back inside. He was holding something in his hands. He placed it on the kitchen table. It was a scarecrow. Its clothes were tattered and worn. Its head was a burlap sack stuffed with straw.
But it wasn't one of their scarecrows. They didn't have any. Then her father said, "It wasn't a man watching the house, it was this." He paused. "The man I saw was carrying this away from the house. He dropped it when he saw me. He ran back into the corn."
A young man named Mark was driving home late one night. He worked the late shift at a diner about an hour from his town. The road between the two places was long and lonely. It cut through a thick, dark forest. There were no streetlights. There were no houses. For miles and miles, it was just Mark, his car, the two beams of his headlights cutting through the blackness. He knew the road well. He drove it every night. He usually listened to the radio to keep himself awake. But tonight, the radio was just static. So he drove in silence. The woods on either side of the road were dense. The trees grew right up to the edge of the pavement. Their branches hung over the road like long skeletal fingers. Mark was tired. His eyes felt heavy. He was thinking about his bed. He was thinking about sleep. He was not paying much attention to the forest. It was always the same. Dark, empty, silent. He had driven this road hundreds of times and had never seen another car. He had never seen an animal. He had never seen anything at all. Tonight felt no different from any other night. Then, something darted out in front of his car. It was fast. It was just a blur of brown and white. Mark slammed on the brakes. The tires screeched on the pavement. The car swerved and came to a stop in the middle of the empty road. His heart was hammering in his chest. He was sure he had hit it. He thought it was a deer. He sat there for a moment, his hands gripping the steering wheel. He turned off the crackling radio. The silence of the forest rushed in. He couldn't see anything in his rearview mirror. Mark took a deep breath. He had to check. He had to see if the animal was hurt. He also had to check his car for damage. He opened his door and stepped out into the cool night air. The only light came from his own headlights. They pointed down the road, leaving the area around the sides and back of his car in near total darkness. He walked to the front of his car, his footsteps sounding loud in the quiet. He looked at the bumper. There was no dent. He looked on the road. There was no blood. There was no animal. There was nothing.
He was sure he had seen something. He was sure he had felt a small bump, but there was no sign of anything. He walked around his car, checking the front, checking the back, checking the driver's side, checking the passenger side. Nothing. He shone his phone's flashlight into the dark woods. He saw only trees and shadows. He called out, "Hello, is anyone there?" Only silence answered him. He figured the animal must have stunned and then ran off into the forest. It was strange, but it was the only thing that made sense. He was tired and just wanted to get home. He got back into his car and locked the doors. It was a habit. He always locked his doors. He started the engine and began to drive again.
The forest seemed darker now. The silence seemed heavier. He kept glancing at his rearview mirror. He felt a strange sense of unease, a feeling that he was being watched. He told himself he was just spooked from the near accident. He tried to turn the radio back on, but it was still just static, a harsh, buzzing sound. So he turned it off and drove on, his eyes scanning the road ahead and the dark woods on either side. That is when he heard it. It was a faint sound, a scratching sound. It seemed to be coming from the back of the car. Scrape, scrape, scratch. He thought it might be a branch that had gotten caught underneath the car. It was a plausible explanation. The tree branches hung low over the road. He tried to ignore it. He turned up the static on the radio to drown it out, but he could still hear it. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was a rhythmic sound. It was not random like a branch would be. It sounded like fingernails. Fingernails on metal. The sound got louder. It was moving. It started at the back bumper. Then it moved along the passenger side of the car. Scratch, scrape, scratch. It was keeping pace with him. He was driving at 40 miles per hour, but the sound was right there, just outside his window. Mark's hands were slick with sweat on the steering wheel. He did not dare look to his right. He kept his eyes fixed on the road. He pressed his foot down on the gas pedal. The car sped up. The sound sped up with it. It was right next to him, just on the other side of the door. Mark drove faster and faster, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. The lonely road was a blur. The trees streaked past his windows, but the scratching sound did not go away. It stayed right with him. It was a frantic, desperate sound now, the sound of something trying to get in. Mark was terrified. He did not know what it was. He could not imagine what kind of person or creature could run that fast. He just knew he could not stop. He could not slow down. He had to get out of the woods. He had to get to a place with lights, with people. Finally, up ahead he saw a faint glow. It was a gas station. It was the only one for 30 miles. It was a small, bright island of light in the vast, dark ocean of the forest. Hope surged through him. He floored the gas pedal, aiming for that light. As he got closer, the scratching sound became more frantic, more violent. It sounded like claws now, tearing at the metal of his car door. He swerved into the gas station parking lot, the tires squealing. He pulled up right in front of the brightly lit convenience store. He slammed the car into park. The moment the car stopped, the scratching stopped. Everything was silent again.
Mark sat in his car, breathing heavily. He was afraid to get out. He was afraid of what he might see. The gas station attendant, an old man, came out of the store. He had seen Mark pull in so fast. He walked up to the driver's side window and knocked on the glass. "You all right, son?" the old man asked. "You came in here like the devil was chasing you." Mark could barely speak. He just nodded. He felt foolish. "Son," the old man said, his voice a horrified whisper, "don't look now. Just get out of the car. Come inside with me, right now." "When you pulled in," he said, "there was a man clinging to the side of your car, a pale, thin man, and when you stopped, he let go, smiled at me, and just walked back into the woods."
Two young sisters, Chloe, Mia, were home alone during a blizzard. Their parents had gone into town to get supplies before the snow got too bad. They had promised to be back before dark, but the storm came faster than anyone expected. The snow fell thick and fast. Soon the roads were closed. Their parents called. They were stuck in town and would have to stay at a motel for the night. They told the girls to lock the doors, stay inside, and not to worry.
Chloe, the older sister, promised they would be fine. They had plenty of food and the power was still on. The world outside the windows turned white. Snow piled up against doors and windows, and the wind howled like a hungry wolf. Inside, the house was warm and cozy. The girls made hot chocolate and watched a movie. They felt safe. It was like a fun adventure being snowed in all by themselves. After the movie, Mia went to the big window and looked out at the swirling snow. "Let's build a snowman tomorrow," she said. The front yard was a perfect, smooth, untouched blanket of white. Later that night, the girls were getting ready for bed. Chloe was in the bathroom, brushing her teeth. Mia called, "Chloe, come look!" Chloe spat out her toothpaste and ran to the window. She looked out the window. Sure enough, right in the middle of the yard, a snowman. It wasn't there an hour ago. A big one, 3 large snowballs. It had stick arms, rocks for eyes, a mouth. It was facing the house.
Chloe felt a shiver of unease. The yard had been empty. The snow was deep. Who would be out in this blizzard building a snowman? And how did they do it without leaving any footprints? She looked closely. The blanket of snow was perfect, smooth and untouched. No tracks to it, no tracks away. It was as if it had appeared out of thin air. "That's weird," Chloe said, trying not to scare her little sister. "Maybe Dad made it before he left and we just didn't notice." But she knew that was not true.
Mia seemed happy about the snowman. She waved at it. "He's looking at us," she giggled. Chloe pulled the curtains shut. "Time for bed," she said, her voice a little too sharp. She lay in the dark, listening. After a while, she heard a soft tapping sound. Tap, Tap, tap.
It was coming from the window. She thought it was just a tree branch coated in ice hitting the glass. She tried to ignore it, but it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Chloe sat up in bed. Mia was fast asleep. The tapping continued. It was quiet, but persistent. Chloe crept out of bed and went to the window. She was on the second floor of the house. The tree branches were too far away to reach the glass. She took a deep breath. She pulled the curtain back just a tiny bit. She peeked outside. Her heart stopped. It was not a tree branch. It was the snowman. It was no longer in the yard. It was right outside her window, on the second floor. Its rock eyes were staring in at her, and one of its stick arms was raised, tapping gently on the glass. These stories are over, but the night is not. The darkness outside your window is still there. The strange sounds you hear are still unexplained. You lock your door. You close your curtains. You feel safe in your little box of light. But the world is big and full of empty, dark places. And sometimes, things from those dark places get curious. They come to your window. They come to your door. They want to see what is inside. So the next time you hear a scratch or a tap or a rustle in the bushes, ask yourself, is it just the wind? Or is it someone who wishes they were inside with you? Look over your shoulder. Are you sure you are alone?